All right, folks, it's cold out there, and another Arctic blast now predicted to land into Florida this next weekend. Oh my gosh, this is the craziest. I blame it on global warming. Take a look at this. For the first time that I can ever recall, Juneau, Alaska is warmer than Orlando, Florida. That was on February 1st. How cold is it? Well, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this from Marcus LeShock. You know, every once in a while I run across a really cool last name. LeShock is up there. I mean, you know, every lady who's like, who am I going to marry? Mr. LeShock. Universal and Walt Disney World were freezing this morning. How cold? Well, take a look. What do we got? There is the Ratatouille fountain, literally frozen. Bet you never thought you'd see that, eh? The Universal Studios globe had icicles hanging from it. The trolls had icy snot coming out of the poor little girl troll. What's her name? Does anybody know her name? Do you all remember her name? I don't remember. But girl troll. And then, of course, you've got Frozen.
Her name is Poppy, by the way.
Poppy. Well, Poppy was joined by these fellows over here who are frozen in place. And we can all laugh and we can have a good time about it. But the truth of the matter is, it's kind of a really bad thing. And damages may be quite high. Let's talk about it. Ryan Maui says 24 degrees in Melbourne, Florida is the new monthly record low for February, a.k.a. we're breaking records with these temps. Records began in 1937, so it's the coldest February in 90 years. In 90 years. We've got more pictures of just how cold this was. Take a look outside of Disney World. You've got fountains completely frozen. You've got Disney World covering up with thermal tarps. Thermal blankets everywhere. That's not easy. That's not cheap. You got fountains in Magic Kingdom frozen, and the outside. I suppose, is this a parade float? Because this is
this is at the Grand Floridian, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. The water feature, the pool, the kids area.
Yes.
So it's frozen. This is the kind of stuff you never ever see it. The problem is, here's what we got to figure out, folks. These pipes and these nozzles and all this stuff, there's a lot of water feature, sprinkler sprayers, all that kind of stuff in Disney World and the theme parks and Universal. It's really not made to be frozen like that. These things are not made. They're made to sustain hurricanes, not temperatures where the wind chill is down in the teens. That's not it. So Fox 35 is reporting the sad part of this that a lot of people need to know, because it's fun to look at the pictures, right? But this might be really expensive and pretty darn painful. Marvin Montanaro is reporting on that Park Place that it looked like yesterday there was even a burst pipe from freezing temperatures at Hollywood Studios, water pouring out into the theme park. How much more of that are we going to find out as a problem once we turn those fountains back on? Fox 35 says Florida farm buried in ice amid freezing temps. Irrigation issues are catastrophic. Okay. They're not going to tell you this on the theme parks, but they will on the farms. And I want to read this to you. And you just imagine what is going to happen with the theme parks and water parks, Volcano Bay, Typhoon Lagoon, etc. It says, in the light of day, it looks like a glass forest. Every leaf, every branch, and every fruit in this Lake County field is encased in a thick, translucent armor. But for the farmers here, this isn't a winter wonderland. The owners and staff at Southern Hill Farms in Claremont, Florida, did not sleep. They stayed awake throughout the night to monitor their plants and fields as freezing temperatures hit the area. Quote, the event we had last night was catastrophic. Says, we knew it was going to be a terrible night. When you make ice at 8 o'clock, it's going to be bad night. We've done this a million times when it was a cold event. We run overhead irrigation to either to wash frost off or to freeze, put a protective layer of water ice around the berry in the plant. Normally it's 30 degrees, 32 degrees. Wind's not real high. But the event we had last night was catastrophic. And you can see what the plants in Florida looked like. Yeah, your blueberries might be more expensive this year, folks. Just bottom line. MJ, I'm worried about when the cold goes away, we're going to find a lot of pipes damaged, a lot of fountain heads damaged from the ice being in there. And frankly, I don't know if it's better or worse to keep the water running on the fountains. I'm kind of surprised they didn't turn the water off to a lot of this stuff, but it seems like they kept the water going. And if it froze inside some of those nozzles, I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of damage across the theme parks. What say you?
I agree with you. I feel like they should have made better provisions. They were warned. They had plenty of warning. It's not like this thing came out of nowhere. Elsa sent her magic powers from Japan. We have frozen land here now in Magic Kingdom and Epcot. and maintenance should have taken precaution for that. I agree with you. They should have shut down all the fountains. Like I said, they had enough warnings.
And drain them, because if it freezes inside of some of these concrete structures and other things that ice has to expand, it may have cracked some of this stuff and could be a problem. Vash, am I overly negative about this? Do you think the experts knew and they were ready for it?
I mean, I doubt they were ready for everything that actually goes on here. I mean, horticulturally, this is going to ruin, I would guess, a lot of plants there, a lot of ecology in the local area. It's definitely something that that I think the Walt Disney Company is worried about. We saw from Marvin's photos and excellent reporting about the tarps and certain things that they're putting over some of these plants and wildlife and so forth. But I mean, we saw like the Tree of Life frozen and so forth, and in cold weather states, right, where maybe theme parks reside, they're ready for this. They have their pipes insulated, for example, and they don't actually operate in those colder temperatures. Versus Disney, that's a kind of a 365 operation, and so it's chosen in Orlando, Florida, because you're never really betting on these kind of frigid temperatures. I would assume that this is going to do a lot of damage to back-end infrastructure. It's just going to be, question is how much, and can we expect them to actually fix it in a decent time period? We've only really seen this for Disney back in, I think, 1985. So this is some big stuff here.
Vash, I had a question for you. Didn't last year we had some issues with the sewage over in Epcot near the Moana Journey of Water area? Do you think
when do we not? It still stinks there.
Yeah, right, and Magic Kingdom, really bad in Magic Kingdom over by Splash Mountain in front of Big Thunder. Right? And that whole area
the cold
flooded.
weather. Can you imagine the pipes now? Like it's gonna be, once they defrost, it's gonna be even more disastrous, I would think.
That's a good point. I mean, we did see some photos of Moana. Journey of Water, inspired by Moana. That's the name right there. We did see that whole thing frozen over. So MJ's
close.
Exactly right. It did affect those specific areas right there. And I think Marvin was detailing, water pouring out of buildings and so forth. This could have a really damaging effect. Again, these pipes, this installation is it's not built with insulation in mind. You're thinking that temperatures are never going to hit under probably 40 degrees, and now we are severely under that.
Old school Imagineers would have quickly rethemed that to Journey of Ice, inspired by Frozen.
Exactly.
In December 2010 was the last time that Walt Disney World hit around 29 degrees. But I don't think very many of the horticulturists and the Imagineers from that era are with Disney now. So even if they would have had notes from back then what to do, there's a question of what they have to do now. And I'm telling you, the farmers in this area are absolutely devastated. Strawberries and blueberries are gone.
Well, the other thing too is when we're talking about temperatures, yes, it got down into the 20s and that matched. But the wind was in addition too, and the wind brought the wind chill down into the teens. I don't know that we've ever seen the Walt Disney World Resort or Universal, since they've been built, try to sustain wind chill down that low. And just like you will suffer in wind chill, so will plants. And so they could, yeah. And so we're waiting for pictures to come out of Animal Kingdom. I've got a single photo I'll share. Let me get this on. There we go. From Blog Mickey is sharing this one. And you can see folks in the picture. People are dressed like it's Alaska. That's good for them. They need to be. This is showing Dinoland USA signage covered as it just closed. But what we're really curious about is we're going to want photos of how did the plants, how did they survive in Animal Kingdom? Animal Kingdom is filled top to bottom with tropical plants, and it actually gives the theme park sort of its aesthetics. If you take away the plants, it won't look like Animal Kingdom anymore. It depends on it. So if these plants are damaged to a great extent, I don't know how Disney's going to rapidly replace them.
Oh, yeah. And you really worry about different trees can get like diseases and so forth if they're not maintained properly, and that can spread and so forth. So you never want that to happen. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a bout like that at Disneyland recently. Unfortunately, I had to cut down a lot of trees because of that, and that was super unfortunate. But these are the kind of the things that you have to really consider, especially Disney's Animal Kingdom. Also, too, Epic Universe actually had a couple of photos of newly installed water features and so forth being frozen over. So Universal not out of this either as well. Walter Tomaszewski coming in here, 1989. Tampa had a wind chill of 10 degrees. Apparently, at Walt Disney World, some of the foliage actually turned black, which is not great at all.
It is concerning about the trees, like Pro was saying. These specific type of species of trees and plants, if you will, need a certain type of soil and fertilizer and nutrients in order to survive. So it is going to be alarming if they don't survive this winter freeze that we're in. I think we're going to be going into this same weather next week. So
That's right.
They really need to get it together and hire people that are familiar with this type of foliage and take care of what's in place, because to replace it is going to be a very big expense.
Well, and almost some of this stuff is impossible to replace because Disney, and to Universal to a lesser extent, but Disney, especially with the Animal Kingdom, they're kind of designed, and Adventureland, by the way, they can't call somebody to replace this stuff. They're the only ones who can replace it. And the problem is the stuff that they would replace it with is in a separate area of Walt Disney World, just north of Animal Kingdom, where they grow it in their nurseries, but it's also suffering the same cold. And if this was a one-time event, Vash, 48 hours, that would be record-breaking for Florida, and we would be covering it. But the fact that it's coming back this next weekend means that plants that are already damaged by this could absolutely be knocked out by the next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, please, Ron.
I was just going to say, we've also, what's interesting to me with the temperatures is that you're getting into wind chills overnight of like 13, 12, really below freezing temperatures. During the day, the sun comes out and it may be 50, 60 degrees. The temperatures shift. And the sun hitting these structures, especially the metal and anything that's stone, the expansion and construction, we don't know what could be cracked or damaged, or even infrastructure damage that could potentially take place at any of these theme parks.
That's a great point. And a little bit on the nursery situation as well, and the plants and so forth. Let's say you wanted to go ahead and replace those plants. Well, we know that you're going to get mainly young trees there, and that's even if you can find them. I mean, remember when Walt Disney World was going up, and even Disneyland, they wiped out nurseries up and down their respective states, right? And everybody's going to be looking for plants to replace what they lost as well. So you could be really in a big bind here for maybe even several years if, in fact, the damage is widespread and not so good. Ron, great point on the concrete and facade work and so forth. We got a lot of rock work now at various parks right here. Who knows how that's going to hold up?
That's a good point. That water gets in those crevices, those cracks that are supposed to be, make it look aged and all that kind of stuff. They expand with ice. Not going to be nice for Disney.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.